What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to give you a good overview of what to expect for this upcoming week that could cause a little bit more volatility within Lucid and potentially given the circumstances where things might be going based on the price action. So I'm going to go over all that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get right to it. So Friday did close 1.79% down, had a low of 737. And I wanted to address this one thing that happened after hours on Friday, a huge amount of abnormal buying. So I want to break that down and what that potentially might have been. But as far as this upcoming week, in reality, it might be a little bit quieter up until the 22nd. So the 22nd is when the Feds are going to be making their interest rate decision. It is anticipated to be a 25 basis point increase. So of course, I think that's already factored into the price or into the market as of right now. So I wouldn't really have any worry about that. But for some random reason, if it is in fact, for instance, zero because of what's been happening to the banks and so forth, then in reality, the market is going to very much go up very, very fast. So of course, it could be all over the place. I think this is why this specific rate decision is just all over the place, because initially it was anticipated to be 50 basis points and then 25 basis points. And then there's been some grumblings about zero or kind of keeping it flat. So it's all over the place. So in general, I think this is going to cause a lot of volatility. Right now, 25 basis points is in fact priced into the market. So just be aware of that. That might cause a little bit more volatility and potentially trickle down into Thursday or over into Thursday as well. But as far as Lucid specific stuff this week, there isn't anything planned, but there is something that might be potentially coming out that I've really touched on in the last couple of videos, and that is the gravity. So based on the last or in the Q4 earnings, they did say that it's going to be coming out fairly soon. And based on the Q3 earnings, they said it's going to be completed and unveiled in Q1. So of course that leaves roughly around a week and a half left potentially for them to open up reservations for the gravity. And as I've said in the past, that's basically one of the biggest catalysts for 2023, that and also the peer. Of course, when it comes down to the gravity, it's going to be largely dependent on the price, but still regardless, I think this is a very good thing that would massively help Lucid behind the scenes. So in general, that might be coming out maybe this week, maybe the next week, sometimes, who knows? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But when it comes to it, like I said, there isn't anything Lucid specific, but there was a new studio that was opened, as you can see, in California, 𝗪𝗓𝗓, if I'm saying that right. I probably not, but still a new studio is fairly positive. And of course it shows that right here, the new studio is now the 35th studio in North America to be opened, 40th globally. So I think at the end of the day, a lot of these studios is going to be very much helping their marketing aspect, because their marketing aspect is largely word of mouth. And with the peer being unveiled, and like I said, the peer is a very big attribute of the success of 2023, then that's just going to piggyback off of all of these studios. And so it's going to be helping the bigger picture, the bigger domino effect all happening, and it starts with the studios. So the more that they do open, I think the better in reality. But I think at some stage they do need to start opening up more studios in Europe, in my own opinion, of course. And there was another follow-up interview with 𝗖𝗓𝗡 that he does indicate that there's going to be another or potential studios coming very, very soon outside of Saudi Arabia into the UAE. So in general, I think that's going to be also another thing to potentially look forward to, not necessarily this week, but most likely in 2023 or mid 2023. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below, but I'm just going to give you a quick summary of some data points that you need to know basically. So starting off with shorts. So as you can see on shorts or on Friday, shorts did increase 470,000 shares, bringing the grand total to 132.83 million shares. That is pretty significant. Cost to borrow, the average is around 13.26%. 20.72% is the free float that is being shorted. So I think generally with the interest rate decision on this upcoming Wednesday, if it is positive, then most likely I do anticipate shorts to close out some of the positions, which of course would positively help Lucid stock price. And while I'm on Ortex, someone did ask, I'll just break it down for you. And on a side note, if you guys have any questions about any of this, you can always let me know in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to kind of break it down for you. But someone had a question about the short score. So short score is currently 83. That's a pretty good breakdown, and overview of how likelihood of a squeeze happening. The higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze. And this number is kind of comprised of three different things. One of which is utilization, which is 100% in Lucid's case. It also encumbers the cost to borrow and overall the amount of shares being shorted as a certain percentage or as a number per se. So again, that's where you get this number. Just on a side note, a little bit more reasoning behind the scenes. As far as options activity, you do see a lot of calls being purchased, but this one stands out right here. So a massive amount of puts near the tail end of the day. So definitely, I think right now people don't know exactly where Lucid is going to be going from here. So this is why you kind of get the mixed call options. But of course, call options don't necessarily move the stock price by any means. It's just more of a sentiment. But what does move the stock price is large orders. So when it comes down to it, these are all the transactions that did happen on the secondary market. And so of course, this is all pre-market right here. So 7.9, and you can always look at the bid and the ask just to see what was buys and sells. So first thing in the morning, it looks like there was a 7.9 million sell, 1.51 million, 1.52 million, and those were once again sells. But that isn't what I want to bring to your attention. What happened after hours was very, very much abnormal. So you can even see it based on the volume as well. So for instance, if I scroll up a little bit, you guys can start seeing right here, after hours, $64.5 million. And based again, once on the bid and the ask, this one was a buy. Similar to this, 7.69. And in fact, this was 3 cents over the ask. And not only that, but it gets better, 7.63, or sorry, 7.69, 2.69, 3.52, 7.69, 6.63. So big money behind the scenes was very, very much buying after hours on Friday, which even in general, after hours on Friday is normally very quiet. So a lot of people haven't necessarily caught on to this as much as they probably should have, but in reality, it does appear as though that it was a big institution that was buying. And what typically does happen near the end of a quarter is where a lot of big institutions start to rebalance their portfolios. So for instance, stocks that have been hit quite hard, such as Lucid over the last quarter, this is where a lot of them start to rebalance their portfolios. So of course, this is where they add more Lucid. So potentially it might be some of the big names in Lucid, such as Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, so forth. So definitely that is seen as a very positive sign, how I see it at least. It goes to show that Lucid still does have some significant value behind the scenes. So of course, that's just something for you to know. And when it comes down to it, as far as price point where I do see things going, it is well below a lot of the pivotal moving averages. Around that central boiling band is around $8.57. But what you have to really look for, 2 points, is between here. So currently trading between the S2 and the S1, which is pretty big support points for within the Fibonacci. So potentially 704 is something to really watch for. If it breaks that, then anticipate between 5 to 7, that range. But I do anticipate this week to actually break above that 820, despite even with the interest rate decision increase. So that's just my own interpretation, of course, but I think there's a lot of pent-up momentum behind the scenes with Lucid, and you can also tell that based on stochastic. So stochastic right now is at 16, which is very much oversold, but you do see a very good deviation. So black line above the red showing a nice bullish sentiment is happening behind the scenes. And over and above that, though, you can tell a number of retail investors for the most part are just having enough. So they're getting out on Friday. But in general, like I said, this is why, unfortunately, a lot of retail investors sometimes panic sell or whatever it might be. But institutions are always there, sitting there patiently waiting and willing to buy your shares very, very much up cheap. But keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, so you guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. So like I said, as far as price point where I see things going, I see it around the 850 range. In all honesty, given the circumstances of potentially what might come out, and especially more so the gravity, then it could easily get to around that 850 range. So let me know your thoughts on that. I don't think there's enough to get it passed into the higher percentile of the Bollinger Band, which like I said is around the 850 range. So Once again, let me know your thoughts on that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. There's one final thing I just wanted to share with you. There is a promo only up until March 31st with moomoo. All you have to do, click on the link in the description below or the comments and just open up a free account. By doing so, you get one free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So even if you just do that in among itself, it's kind of a no-brainer. If you want to throw $100 at it, you clearly, as you can see, get 4 additional free stocks, each valued up to $2,000. And because of the whole chat AI movement, you get 2 additional ones above that. So one of which is AI, the other one is BBAI. So for $100, you get 7 free stocks. Complete no-brainer, and it's a free account as well. So win-win if you ask me, but let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up like I said, and with that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.